less than really diving into the Arizona series, because I agree with Dave Roberts. Just move on, put it in the rearview mirror, put it behind you. But it feels like, yeah, on offense, the rules are helping the Dodgers, but on defense and on pitching, it's really, really hurting LA.
No question about it. And like I said, we're taking victory laps. I mean, we're going to give you credit. He goes 3-3. I said 4-2. These guys said all 6-0. Look at these sunshine pumpers here.
First of all, no one said 6-0.
Yes, go back and watch the show. Oh, no.
Only Noah said
That's
6-0.
Okay, that's right. Okay.
All right,
But anyway,
so relax there, buddy. Relax, buddy.
So getting back to it, look, a few weeks ago when I dropped the video on how the rules would impact the Dodgers, the thing that I warned you guys about was the balls in play. And when your bullpen doesn't miss bats, when your bullpen pitches to contact, this is something that's going to happen. And if you look at the numbers, they indicate that you're not getting as much swing and miss. The strikeout rate is currently at 19.4%. That's 24th in all of Major League Baseball. Last season, that was at 26.7%. That was good for fourth. 2021, 25.5%. If you go all the way back, it's all 25 and up. And so you combine the fact that these guys aren't missing bats. You're not getting velocity guys. They're struggling to really just mow guys down, especially with 2 outs, too. That was one of the big things that really stood out to me is their inability to get strikeouts with 2 outs and 2 strikes and situations like that. But when you factor that in and then you combine it with the fact that you don't have the advantage of the restricted shift, of aligning guys in situations where if you can induce that soft contact, put the ball in play, you can get outs. Currently, right now, a .333 batting average on balls in play. So that means 33% of the time, the ball's in play, it's going for a hit.
Yeah.
Last season,
we're seeing it.
We're seeing it, right? And last season,
16
that number,
hits on Sunday.
16 hits. I mean, more hits. I mean, Casey Kasem's going to get jealous. So many hits out there. I mean, so many hits for this team. It's unbelievable. But this last season, that was at 269. So that the Dodgers have had the formula, but now you're seeing a more of a level playing field, and the Dodgers don't really have that cheat code per se. And a team like the Diamondbacks, I think one of the silver linings, I'm always trying to look at the Michelada half full. One of the silver linings that I'm looking at is the fact that you're playing a Diamondbacks team early on that can show you what this brand of baseball can do for you. A team that's not going to go out there and try to slug. They're going to try to beat you with speed and put the ball in play. And the Dodgers, they definitely had a learning lesson, and they learned the hard way against this D-backs team that like we said, I mean, I said they're going to surprise people. I picked them to finish third in the division, but still, I mean, it was a rude awakening for this Dodgers pen, and kind of for me, I think, what's the answer here? I mean, what is the answer? I mean, there's really, you can dig deep and hope that Daniel Hudson's going to return from injury and be that guy. Alex Reyes in the middle of the season.
One guy is going to make a difference. So, yeah, you didn't throw a question to me, but I'm going to throw a question to you. Do you look at the series as a throwaway, or is it a sign of something bigger? Like, should it really be like a massive concern for this team?
I think to me it's a microcosm of, I really think it's something that really leads to a bigger problem. I think that you look at the way Andrew Friedman has manufactured bullpens. I mean, he just treats it like it's like putting together a meal with leftovers, right? You're just putting something on a plate, throw in the microwave, and you eat it. He doesn't treat it like it's the entree, right? The starting pitching, the lineup, you treat that like the entree. The bullpen, though, look at who's on this bullpen. It's Reclamation Project. It's Shelby Miller. I mean, he was wilder than a frat party.
But he's the guy who's like has a 0 ERA. You know, he hasn't allowed a run yet.
But all the walks. I mean, he had all those walks yesterday. He really is not commanding the zone. I mean, definitely, he's one of the guys that definitely got squeezed a little bit. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, his stuff has looked pretty okay. But still, if you just look at that, $1.5 million. Yancy Almonte, they get him off the scrap heap too. Evan Phillips is a guy who, Fireman Phillips, last season established himself as one of the best in the game. Well, his velo's down a little bit. The strikeouts are down a little bit. I think he's going to be fine because that cutter and inducing that soft contact with that sweeper is going to be there. But a lot of these guys, Brusdar Graterol, of course, he was basically, they got him because the Mookie Betts trade fell apart and they didn't like Boston didn't like their medicals. And with Bazooka, he's a guy who always feels like it almost feels like, I mean, what does his calendar look like as far as like the first part of the season? It always feels like it takes him a month to really just get going. So the point I'm trying to make is they don't invest a lot in the bullpen. And to a certain point, I'm okay with that because if there is one position group that you can fix during the season, it is the bullpen. And you can go out there and try to make moves. And if you're the Dodgers and Andrew Friedman, what happened last year? they made a trade for a bullpen piece at the beginning of this season, and it turned out to be a nightmare with Craig Kimbrell going Craig Crumble for most of the year. And
I mean, they tend to fail or at least not have success with the big name. And it's hard for around the league for people to have success going out and getting the big name. Usually, Andrew Friedman has the success by going out and plucking an Evan Phillips, off the waiver wire, or a free agent signing of a Yancey, or a low-key trade for a Dylan Flora, who eventually became a low-key trade for an Alex Vesia, a Tony Cingrani, who was good for a while. Whenever they have kind of gone for the bigger names, I don't know if you want to call them bigger, Tony Watson, there was some success there in 17. Ended up costing you that fool O'Neal.
Get better soon. 4 months on the IL.
I had to. It was a long way to really get to that. But there's no quick fix for this. The quick fix is these guys need to figure it out. I was up late, worried about everything in the world. 3 a.m, I decided to throw out on Twitter just so I could be first on it. I expect to see Wander Suero somewhere up here pretty soon, because also they burned through a lot of pitches over this series, and if they have if Julio can't go deep today, I think they're looking at him to go 7 or 8 to give the bullpen a rest. You could see some action starting sooner. I wouldn't be surprised if something ends up happening before the game. I guess by now we would have heard it already. But this was something, third victory lap. And I got some crap in it for in the comments on DodgersNation.com, because somebody accused me of revisionist history, because I said if you looked at this Dodgers roster, the biggest area of concern was the bullpen. And hey, I've been saying that for at least 2-3 months. I had the epiphany moment here, sitting here with you, when we were going through the roster for the 100th time in the offseason leading up to spring training. I was like, wow, this could be a really, really bad bullpen. I don't think it's going to be as bad as it looks right now, but it looks really bad right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to spin this because, like I said, in this day and age of Major League Baseball, and look, I always want to point out, too, this isn't a problem that's exclusive to the Dodgers. There's bullpens all around the league that are struggling, and I think, too, we would be remiss if we didn't mention the adjustment to the pitch clock, because a lot of these pitchers look a little sped up out there. I think Caleb Ferguson yesterday, he comes in, he looks good for a couple minutes, but you saw gives that 2-out RBI to McCarthy, and he's just not hitting his spots. And then he allows that double steal in the 5th, and Nick Ahmed got that massive jump. Then Perdomo gets that hit on a 3-2 count. So that, to me, that just completely encapsulates the Dodgers bullpen. A 2-out hit, a 2-strike hit, guys stealing on you. The Dodgers are one of the worst in the league at holding runners, and they definitely need to make an adjustment on that, because it's not on Will Smith, it's not on Austin Barnes, and they need to do a better job of recognize that, because look, the word is out there that you can steal on the Dodgers, and that's going to happen all season long if they don't make that adjustment. But kind of to get back to your point, what can you do? We're talking about Wander Suero, and Nationals fans swear by him. They really are big fans of him. They think that he has a lot of potential coming out of the pen. He definitely has the upside in the strikeout stuff. But how about this? I've heard that Victor Gonzalez looks pretty good down there. Hit 96. He's looking a little better. And Ferguson hasn't inspired very much confidence. Alex Vesia is a guy who, look, last season, Alex Vesia, he got off to a very hot start. Then he had an ERA of over 4 in June, over 4 in May, over 4 in June. And then he was lights out for the last 25 2/3 innings of the year.
He's kind of a slow starter. I guess he goes through bad spells, so I guess we'll say, and Dave is, I don't know if it's to a credit, but Dave has said they're all kind of to some degree struggling with mechanics or working through something mechanical. I don't know how they didn't figure it out during spring training. I saw somebody comment on the website that they saw fewer split squad games, so there was fewer opportunities to get some pitchers in there. I don't know about all that, but I think they had an ample time to get ready. Just seems like they're in a bad spot mechanically in some dudes.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you look at game action, it's very different than what we see in spring training, and they're going to need to adjust to this pitch clock. I think mechanics also is impacted by that too. And yeah, if you just look at the numbers across the board, I mean, a 4.68 ERA, I mean, that's just not going to get it done. This is something that this team has had a strength in for the last few seasons, is a bullpen that you can count on. And look, we're kind of doing the same thing we did last year, and we're waiting for guys to come back from injuries, and there's a lot of what ifs. Can Alex Reyes be that guy? Can Daniel Hudson be the guy who was lights out last year? I mean, he was on his way to to having a career year, Huddy was. I mean, he had a strikeout rate over 30, a walk rate at like 5.5, something like that. 5 saves. He still finished with the second most saves, even though he missed the last 3 months of the season. But can he be that guy? Because he's 37, 38 years old. So you're relying on that. You're relying, can Blake Trinan come back? I mean, maybe Walker Buehler comes back in the postseason. Way too many ifs, in my opinion. And yeah, I think what it's going to come down to is, can this team just improve their command across the board? Because right now it's almost looking like there's a dunk tank out there. And if you're sitting on that dunk tank, you're going to end up dry, right? Because they're not hitting their spots out there. But like I said, still tons of talent in this bullpen. But I think, everyone always likes to look at the individual player. This guy's trash. That guy's trash. This guy's trash, right? But honestly, this is more of a personnel thing. And the Diamondbacks team, they've evolved with the times. They put together a roster that can thrive with the new rules, whereas this Dodgers team in their bullpen, they had to have known that the new rules, the ball's going to be more in play, and they were going to have as many advantages. So I think you're going to see them get a Chris Martin type. But here's the thing. Chris Martin at the beginning of the season last year didn't look like the Chris Martin at the end of the season last year. That he was fantastic with the Dodgers. You saw his K rate. You saw what he did on the mound. And that's what you have to do. You have to allow this reliever market to simmer a little bit, let guys emerge, and then you can pick up a guy up. Because the worst thing you can do is pick up a guy that was good last year and he's not good this year. I mean, look, just hypothetically, let's say Vesia is not good this year, right? And what if a team went out there and traded for Vesia and he wasn't good? You need to see guys, this how they perform, because bullpen pieces, very volatile. A lot of one-hit wonders.
Well, we kind of saw that too. 21, Bickford was good. 22, not as good. You got something for me, Cody? What's going on?
Let's go. To wrap up the bullpen talk just a little bit, we got another super chat from Daniel V.
Daniel, my brother.
And he said another one.
Another one.
Sorry, $4.99.
Thank you.
From Daniel V. Thank you again. He said another one. Who's one player in the league that you would like to add to our bullpen? Great question.
We had Shohei to the bullpen. I don't know. I don't know enough about the rando bullpen arms around the league. I can tell you not Craig Kimbrell. I can tell you not Kenley Jansen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I advocate for this guy, but it's very interesting that the Dodgers, there was a rumor for a few days that were interested in Aroldis Chapman. Have you seen Chapman's numbers this season? I mean, he's back to Mr. 102, a strikeout rate of over 50%. Will Smith is a guy for Texas who he's gone off to a really good start, but if you look at his contract, it's still owed over $13 million this year. So yeah, it's on an expiring deal. The Dodgers might like that if they need another lefty per se, and if they want an actual established closer, if Daniel Hudson can't be that guy. So yeah, I mean, there are names. I mean, Jake Diekman is a guy who he's got off to a slow start, but he's another lefty. I mean, look, this is what you look at. This is, if you want to look at what relievers the Dodgers will go after, it's guys that have maybe 1 year or 2 years max on their contract that are high strikeout rate guys, high spin rate guys. I mean, that is what they're looking for. That's the kind of dynamic they're trying to go after.
Want, for sure.
Yeah, so
get me Devin Williams. Get me the Airbender. If prospect capital is whatever. What's the expression?
For a make-believe world.
Yeah. Like money is no object. Prospects are no object. Humans shouldn't be an object either way. Get me Devin Williams. That's what I want. It's not going to happen.
Hey, look at what the Padres did. They went out there and got Josh Hader. He was fantastic down the stretch. And the last image you see of the 2021-2022 season is Freddie Freeman striking out with Hader on the mound. But we're wrapping the bullpen session with, what nickname do you like the most for Phil Bickford? Because you mentioned Bickford. He actually has looked a lot better. I mean, painting the corner with 97. I mean, as long as he avoids the heart of the plate, he's a guy that can at least get some swing and miss as opposed to some of the other guys in the pen. But I like the Thin Thor, Diet Thor, or the Phil Billy.
I mean, a couple of those pretty good.
Yeah.
Diet Thor is pretty solid.
Okay.
Thor Zero.
There you go. There you go.
TZ.
TZ.
TZ in here.